Hello and welcome to a Neo Warfare X video. Today I will be going over some of the new videos in the Falklands update, although first I wanted to say that I am using a Bravo server, and I found this airbase, which is RAF Connexby, and it looks incredible, like as an airbase. But anyways, let's get started. The first vehicle is the Harrier GR.1, which is folded with the Harrier GR.3. It's modeled incredibly. It has all sorts of weapons and drop tanks. I will bring a missile rail and a rocket pod on that side, and you know what I'll do, so I'm over here. It only carries AIM-9Ls for air-to-air, but it's still quite impressive. Also, on this hard point, it carries bombs. Of course, it's nighttime. But you can see a little more. A couple shortcuts are T for the engine nozzles, and they will actually work when the engine's on, and M for these like vent things around the turbine. I'm not totally sure what those are, but you can tell me in the comments. And if you look here, the engine actually spins, which is really cool. And you can see those go all the way back. And of course, being the Harrier, it can do vertical takeoff. And there's another shortcut I thought, but I don't think there is, so I will just move on to the next vehicle. Next vehicle is the Harrier GR.3, which I believe is almost completely identical. Maybe completely identical. I don't believe the last one could carry Mark 82s, and I believe it could carry a bigger centrally mounted bomb. Also, I can note that the Harriers can carry different colors of fuel tanks. But I am going to still carry a missile rail just because it looks cooler for demonstration. Again, flash vision this time. Be basically the same as last time, just now it's gray, and I think the guns are 20mm instead of 30mm, but I could be wrong about that. Next up is the Harrier FRS.1, or I suppose now it's a Sea Harrier, which is a bit different, although still fairly similar. In fact, this one might also be the same, just you can carry one missiles. Wait, no, you can carry the last time. So I don't spend too much time on this one, but I think it is modeled a little differently. These are all modeled incredibly well. Also, I did find out that they are both 20mm guns for the GR.1 and GR.3 Harriers, so no difference there. You can see basically the same thing. Next up would be the Sea Harrier FA.2, and this one I think is the one with 8 and 30mm gun pods. This one can also carry more modern weapons, although it's still not very modern, but this one has a radar and can carry like AMRAAMs and stuff. It's also worth noting that the FRS.1 was a remodel of something already in the game. Don't know if those are symmetrical or not. This one is still basically the same. The biggest addition is radar, of course. And great, these guns. These are 8 and 30mm gun pods rather than 20mm which were previously. I thought all the Harriers had the 8 gun pods, but these are incredible guns. I don't know. I suppose Neo doesn't seem to model like muzzle velocity or anything, which is the Aiden's biggest downfall in real life. And just leads to this. So, yeah, that is, I think, all of the Harriers. Next up is probably at least the coolest looking vehicle in this update, of my opinion. This is the French Super Etenard. It also has a really cool feature in the form of this body refueling tank, which I will show. And it also carries some pretty nice missiles and AS-30s, which are pretty interesting too. And this, which I'm assuming is similar to the AS-30, but I will look at. Same thing over here. Oh, they also carry Exocet anti-ship missiles. Demonstrate that. Well, I can't demonstrate it, but I can explain how those would normally be used. So, this one will be longer because I can't just jump into the air like a Harrier. But I'm just going to take off on the taxiway. Or turning on combat mode here too. And you can see this like cable hanging off of the back of that fuel tank. I haven't tested it, but I would assume this allows you to refuel another plane as though you were an air-to-air like refueling tanker. This one also has, I think, DIFA 30mm guns, which I'm pretty sure are similar to the Aidens, but I could be wrong about. And then you have the AS-30s that I mentioned. So these are interesting because they are mouse guided, so you can like manually guide them to whatever target. Don't know what the like MP1000s are, although okay, these are just mouse guided also. They have like a really long burn time, so these will be interesting to use. It might actually be like the, I think it's the JAASM or something, the unguided version of the LRASM that kind of goes forever. So I don't know if this is a bug or not, but I don't think this is how a missile is supposed to operate. Next up would be the English Electric Canberra B2, however I cannot seem to select it in the hangar for some reason. I would assume this is a bug, but I don't really know how to go about fixing it, so I cannot show this one. After that, though, is another fairly interesting one. This is the English Electric Canberra PR9, which is actually under reconnaissance. And, it is very interesting looking reconnaissance modification of the English Electric Canberra. Has like a camera pod, which makes sense because reconnaissance. But I mean, it's kind of just what you'd expect from a reconnaissance modification of a bomber. It's a really interesting plane, though. I'd like to learn more about it. After that, we have the Martin D57 Canberra, which is actually the American modification, and is very heavily armed. Although I assume it's equivalent to the B2. I just can't see that one. Has massive bomb load of like 12 2,000-pound bombs, which I suppose is not that much compared to some things in this game, but still for like its era, this is still an impressive bomb load. Better question would be, can it make it off the ground with this? We will find out. And surprisingly it can, and it flies quite well for a bomber with this load in this era. Next up is a very interesting one, the IA-58 Pucara, which, I don't know what to say about this. Kind of It seems reminiscent of like a mosquito, but with modern bombs. And yeah, I don't know. Weird, but kind of cool one. I assume the game allowed me to do this, so you can probably take off with this bomb board, which is impressive for a prop plane in the least. That was fast. Yeah, I don't know what more to say about this other than it's a really cool one. And now we have the IAI Dagger, and I'll probably add that IAI Kfir to this too, even though it was added a bit later. But this is basically an Israeli Mirage, and about how you'd expect for one. I'm not totally sure how different it is from the normal Mirage. But even the normal Mirage is a really cool pad, so. It's like a Norwich engine, although I don't know if it's the same as the Mirage or not. Yeah, it's about what you'd expect for an Israeli Mirage. This is the IAI Kfir, which is not necessarily part of the Falklands update, I think, but I'm going to include it here anyways. And this one is very cool because it carries AIM-9X sidewinders and AGM-65D Mavericks as well, but those aren't as cool. This one also has Etenards, which are very interesting. Kind of reminiscent of like a Euro Canard, but not. Flies like a modernized Mirage with Canards. I mean, not too much else to say about this. Okay, I have now moved to a different airport, but next up is, I believe, the LVPT-7, which is an Argentine transport. I believe in real life it's aquatic. I don't believe it is in Neo. But it can actually have dismount infantry in the back that can then get out and function as infantry. And it's just kind of an interesting transport that also has a mounted 50 caliber machine gun on top of it. Foldered with the LVPT-7 is the AAVZ, which I'm pretty sure is the exact same, but with some like additional modular armor on the side. And you can see looks the exact same except for the modular armor there. But that might actually be explosive reactive armor. I assume it functions the exact same as well. Next up is the FE-101 Scorpion, I believe. It's a British light tank or infantry fighting vehicle with a 76mm gun and a not that bad top speed, as you can see down there. Kind of a nice light tank, especially because, well, let's check its reload, but it could actually compare to the HSTVL. Well, I suppose the HSTVL isn't that useful in this game. Nope, not comparable to the HSTVL, but still quite a fun light tank. And now we have the FV-107 Scimitar, which is just like the FV-101 Scorpion, but rather than that 76mm gun, it has a 30mm gun, which I assume fires far quicker. We can test that theory. Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. The gun, oh, there it goes. Very quick firing 30mm gun. I imagine this could cause a lot of destruction, depending on what you were fighting like in terms of other ground vehicles. And now we have this, the Panhard AML-90. This is a French armored car. It is incredibly fast and has a, like realistic, at least, it has a low pressure 90mm gun that can fire heat FS, I believe. This thing is so fast. You can see, really fun scout car. Although I don't know how useful something like this would actually be in ground combat. Next up is the Rapier air defense missile system. This carries 4 Rapier 2 surface-to-air missiles, and it is a trailer, so what I'm not sure of is if this can be towed behind other vehicles. I assume it could be, but not sure about that. I will put in the comments if I figure that out. And onto the ships, we have this. This is a Brooklyn-class cruiser. I believe this is the General Belgrano now. It's converted for Argentine service. We can go out over there. Has similar armament to what this class of cruiser would have had in World War II, I think, but with the addition of some, what I assume are surface-to-air missiles. I should have actually read that. And probably an improved radar as well. Next up are batches 2 and 3 of the Leander class frigates. The only difference I can see is one has 6 weapon bays and the other has 3 weapon bays and 2 cannons, so I will use the batch 3 with more weapon space. You can see it has very nice Seawolf surface-to-air missiles, 4 Exocet missiles, and the same CCAP missiles that I believe are what the General Belgrano had, and some depth charges as well. Very interesting looking ship. I don't know what practicality this served, but I assume it had some purpose, like this raised from deck. And that is a unique looking radar. But all in all, just a very nice, like, quick frigate. Now we have the Amazon class Type 22 frigate. This also holds 4 AM-39 Exocets and 32 the same CCAT surface-to-air missiles. Deploy. Similar to the last one, maybe a bit less heavily armed. But, just another nice frigate. Next up is the Type 42 destroyer, which there are 4 of. I will assume they're all fairly similar. These have the Sea Dart missiles, which are nice, and some exocets in the back. Quickly check the. This one has CIW, so I'll take a look at that one in a moment. One being a destroyer, it's, I mean, what you'd expect from a destroyer. Nothing really too special, although the Sea Dart surface-to-air missiles are nice, especially with 32 of them. But yeah, nice destroyer. And also the HMS Liverpool Type 42, which has more SAMs and no Exocets, but it does have these 2 CIWs, which look like phallic CIWs, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not going to actually deploy with this one. It's just a little different than the Argentine one. Also the HMS Sheffield Type 42 class, which is just like the Argentine one, but without the Exocet launchers on the back of it. And on to submarines, we have the Type 209. This does not carry any missiles and has no VLS cells, which is unfortunate. But I believe it does have a large cluster of torpedo tubes, and seems to be quite a fast submarine too. This is reminiscent of, I think it's a Collins class, but I'm pretty sure there's an Australian submarine that looks like this. Yeah, just a nice fast attack torpedo sub. According to the patch notes that I have been using, next up is the Colosuss class aircraft carrier. However, I have been unable to find the Colosuss class aircraft carrier. So, no Colosuss class aircraft carrier, I suppose. Now we have the LCVP Mark V, which, a troop transport has, like this, dismount thing you can put on it, and I assume that you can put infantry in there. But it is unarmed, and I believe it is just a landing craft, so... Although, being a landing craft, it probably has some ability to open that, front, gate, so... Check that. Not seem that way, which is unfortunate. That would be cool if you... Wait, what did I just click? Yes, sir, I'm very incompetent when it comes to ships. Oh, U opens the front of that, and, the front gate, so I suppose if you're carrying this and want to open the front gate, you just kind of have to accept that being opened, which is a strange decision, but still very cool to have a landing craft in the game. In a similar vein to the Colosuss class, next, according to the batch notes that I am following, would be the Atlantic Conveyor, which I would assume is a cargo vessel, but there is no Atlantic Conveyor in the search results, so I will change that if I can figure out how to find these two, like, through the actual tree thing. And finally, we have the SS Canberra, which is a civilian cruise ship, and is actually very well modeled for a Neo cruise ship, although I suppose the other ones are fairly well modeled also. Yeah, I think that's it. To bring this video to a close, I think that the Neo Falklands update brings an incredible supply of new content to the game, and I think that if they continue doing things like this, I am very excited to see what direction the game will take in the future. You can bully me at in the comments for any small mistakes I made. In fact, please do, because I feel like I made a lot of them, and if I can be corrected, I will try not to make the same mistake next time. And I hope you enjoyed. Have a good day, and thank you for watching.